All right, let's jump right in. Today we are going to try to get to the bottom of the FTX collapse. This is one of those stories that really rocked the crypto world, you know. And to try to make sense of it all, we've got a pretty interesting mix of sources here. We've got a YouTube documentary that kind of gives us that inside look. We also have a What Is article, which, you know, lays out all those important details. And then just to keep things in order, we've got a timeline from AP News that kind of tracks all the craziness as it went down day by day. So I guess the first question is, where do we even start with a story like this?
Well, I think you almost have to start with the man himself, right? Sam Bankman-Fried, or SBF, as he's, come to be known.
Yeah, SBF. Everyone knows him as SBF. I mean, his story is just incredible, or I guess infamous is maybe a better word. Started trading crypto back in his dorm room in college. And next thing you know, he's built this massive crypto empire.
Yeah, worth billions. For a while there, he was like the golden boy, right? The white knight of crypto.
Yeah, magazine covers,
right,
hanging out with celebrities, Tom Brady, even politicians, Bill Clinton.
It's wild. I mean, talk about a rise and fall, almost Shakespearean, you know.
Totally. You know, he was hailed as this visionary philanthropist, you know, changing the world and all that.
But behind the scenes, I think, a very different story was playing out.
For sure. Yeah. And I think the documentary really does a good job of kind of peeling back those layers and showing us what was really going on. One of the first things they highlight is this episode with the kimchi premium. You remember that?
Oh, yeah. How could I forget?
It's this crazy price difference for Bitcoin between South Korea and the U.S.
Right. And SBF, being SBF, he saw it as an opportunity.
Oh, he definitely did. He figured out how to exploit these loopholes in currency controls. Even partnered up with this Japanese student to open a bank account, all to capitalize a price difference.
That whole kimchi premium thing, it wasn't just about, some clever trade. It really revealed a pattern with SBF. He wasn't afraid to operate in these regulatory gray areas, pushing the boundaries of what was acceptable. And looking back, I think, it's a crucial piece of the puzzle, when we try to understand how FTX ultimately fell apart.
Yeah, that's a great point. It really kind of sets the stage for everything that's to come. But before we get into all that, the collapse and everything, let's just take a step back and make sure we all understand the FTX business model. How did it all work? The What Is article gives us that kind of basic overview. It was a cryptocurrency exchange platform, right?
Right.
People could buy, sell, trade all sorts of different cryptocurrencies.
Yep. And for a time, it seemed like it was just unstoppable.
Totally. But, and this is where it gets interesting, FTX went beyond just the basic exchange stuff. They were really pushing their own token, FTT.
Right. They integrated into everything, staking, discounts on trading fees, even earning rewards on their NFT marketplace.
Oh, wow.
It was definitely a way to incentivize users to stay in that FTX ecosystem, but it also created this whole new layer of risk and complexity.
Okay, so FTT, it was more than just a token. It was like the lifeblood of FTX. Right. And this is where I think we need to bring Alameda Research into the picture. This was SBF's crypto trading firm.
Yeah. And
at least from the outside, it was supposed to be separate from FTX. But when you start digging deeper, things get really, really blurry.
Yeah, no kidding. And the What Is article does a good job of breaking all that down. Alameda was heavily reliant on FTT. I mean, it was a huge chunk of their balance sheet. So you have this trading firm whose financial health is basically tied to a token that's controlled by a sister company.
Yeah, I see where this is going.
I mean, that's just a recipe for disaster, right?
Yeah, and that disaster really started brewing when CoinDesk, the crypto news site, they published this bombshell report raising all these concerns about Alameda's balance sheet, basically alleging it was propped up by FTT.
Right, that report, it was like a house of cards, just waiting to collapse.
Yeah, exactly.
And that CoinDesk report was kind of the trigger, the thing that set off this whole avalanche. Suddenly, everyone's looking at FTX and Alameda, and what they're seeing is, well, not good, so it triggers this panic. Yeah. And people start pulling their money out of FTX.
Yeah, it's crazy how fast it all went down. The AP News timeline lays it all out. It's like blow by blow, almost minute by minute. Those 10 days in November, it all starts with that CoinDesk report, November 2nd. Then, just a few days later, Binance, FTX's biggest rival, they announced they're dumping all their FTT holdings.
Oh, yeah. Talk about adding fuel to the fire. I mean, the whole crypto world was watching.
Everyone's on edge.
And when Binance backed out, it was like this signal, right? A complete loss of confidence in FTX.
Yeah, nobody wants to be left holding the bag.
Yeah.
When the music stops. But, Binance, they initially offered to buy FTX. It seemed like a lifeline, right?
Yeah, for a minute there, it was like, maybe they could pull through.
But then Binance pulls out of the deal. After taking a look at FTX's books, what do they see that scared them off?
Well, the new FTX CEO, John Ray III, the guy who handled the Enron bankruptcy, by the way, he said FTX was worse than Enron. Can you imagine?
Wow.
This company handling billions of dollars, and they have basically no accounting system.
No oversight.
Nothing. It was a free-for-all.
It's crazy. You know, the documentary shows employees getting paid through online chats, approvals being done with emojis.
Yeah, it sounds ridiculous.
It's almost comical if it wasn't so tragic. They were using customer funds for risky trades, lavish spending, personal loans to executives.
It's like a giant slush fund.
Yeah.
It's just a complete disregard for, any basic financial principle.
And what's really disturbing is SBF is out there cultivating this image, right? The philanthropist, the champion of ethical investing.
Right, the good guy.
It makes you question everything. Was it all just a facade?
It's hard to say for sure, but regardless of his intentions, the damage is done. This whole thing, it tarnished the reputation of the entire crypto industry.
Definitely made people question the motives of anyone claiming to be doing good with crypto. The What Is article mentions that. FTX didn't even have a board of directors.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and they were operating in the Bahamas, which has way lighter regulations than the U.S.
You have to wonder if they chose the Bahamas for that very reason.
Right. It makes you think.
It definitely raises some questions about the need for, international cooperation when it comes to regulating crypto.
Yeah, right now it feels like the Wild West out there. And then there's that whole strange thing about SBF and his inner circle, right? Living together in this luxury penthouse in the Bahamas, all romantically involved with each other.
Oh, yeah, I read about that. It's like, what is going on?
It adds this whole other layer to the story. It's almost surreal.
It speaks to this, insular culture they created. This echo chamber.
Right, they lose touch with reality.
Yeah, and it becomes easy to make decisions that are just totally detached from any sense of ethical responsibility.
The documentary called it one of the most disastrous financial frauds in history. And it's hard to argue with that.
Yeah, so many people lost their savings, their dreams, because they trusted SBF and FTX.
The massive betrayal of trust.
Yeah.
And it had this ripple effect throughout the entire crypto market.
Oh, absolutely. Other firms with ties to FTX collapsed, investors got spooked, regulators are scrambling.
It's like the whole industry's holding its breath, wonder what's next. So let's talk about the aftermath. The What Is article mentioned there are multiple investigations and lawsuits underway, including a class action lawsuit against those celebrity endorsers.
Oh, right. All those ads. Tom Brady, Steph Curry, telling us to get on the FTX bandwagon.
Yeah, how could we forget?
Well, now the celebrities, they're facing serious legal consequences.
Yeah, it's a reminder that even the biggest names can't escape accountability. Makes you wonder, did those celebrities actually do their homework?
Yeah.
Before they jumped on the FTX bandwagon? Or were they just, blinded by all the hype and the big paychecks?
Yeah, were they asking the tough questions? It's something those lawsuits are going to have to figure out. But it goes beyond just the celebrities, What about all those venture capitalists, the big-name investors? They poured billions into FTX.
Yeah, they were all in.
But were they doing their due diligence? The What Is article pointed out that FTX's balance sheets were never even audited.
Seriously?
Yeah, never audited.
That's wild. You'd think for a company of that size, those sophisticated investors would be demanding a little more transparency, right?
You would think so, but I think sometimes the potential for profit.
That fear of missing out.
Yeah, FOMO. It can cloud judgment, even for the most experienced investors.
It's like we all got caught up in this story. SBF, the genius, the disruptor.
Right, and we forgot to look behind the curtain.
We forgot to ask the tough questions.
Exactly.
Even the media, right? They were so quick to crown SBF the next big thing.
Yeah, did they really scrutinize his claims?
There's a responsibility to celebrate innovation. But not at the expense of critical thinking.
For sure, especially in a space like crypto, which is still, evolving and can be really complex.
So where do we go from here? Can crypto recover from this?
That's the big question, isn't it? I think the future of crypto really depends on whether we learn from this whole mess.
Yeah, make some changes.
Exactly. More regulation, more transparency.
A real shift in the culture.
Yeah, prioritize investor protection, ethical conduct.
The documentary ends by asking this question. Can we ever create a truly transparent and trustworthy crypto ecosystem? What do you think?
I think it's a challenge, no doubt, but I don't think it's impossible. The technology itself. blockchain, cryptography. It has the potential to create a more open, more equitable financial system. But we have to be realistic.
How about the risks?
Yeah, we need to guard against those. Who would exploit the system?
For their own gain.
Right, for personal gain.
So for those of us who are still interested in crypto, what should we be doing? What should we be watching out for?
Well, first things first, don't invest more than you can afford to lose. Crypto is still risky.
Yeah,
volatile.
Definitely volatile. There will be ups and downs. Second thing is, do your research. Don't just follow the hype or endorsements. Look deeper.
Yeah, look for real value.
Exactly. And finally, demand more. Demand more from the industry. Push for regulation, accountability, a focus on ethics. The future of crypto depends on it.
Yeah, that's a powerful message. I think we've all learned a lot today about the FTX collapse, about SBF, and hopefully this whole thing will serve as a wake-up call for the entire industry.
I agree. It's not just about one bad actor. It's about building a better system.
A more resilient system.
A system that benefits everyone.
Well, that's going to do it for our deep dive into the FTX collapse. It's a complex story, a story that's still unfolding, but hopefully we've been able to shed some light on, the key players, the events, and most importantly, the lessons we can all learn. Knowledge is power, right?
Absolutely.
The more informed you are, the better equipped you'll be to navigate this crazy world of crypto. So thanks for joining us.